Here we go. It's the Bourbon and Banter podcast, the most honest podcast in all of bourbon. That's right, folks. We got everything you need to drink curious right here. This is your source for straight up, no BS commentary on the bourbon world. So sit back, grab a pour, and check your feelings at the door, because we're here to lay it out for you as only Bourbon and Banter can. And now your host, a couple fellas whose mouths have gotten them into more trouble in the last year than most people get into in a lifetime. Fresh off their quality control gig at the Steakum plant, where they always go with provolone, no whiz. Here they are.
I love me some Steakums, Bob, but provolone? I mean, where's the Provel? Aren't you going to give St. Louis some love?
Oh, gee, come on, man. We're not even gonna get into this conversation. We don't want to start our 1-year anniversary podcast with me shitting all over Provel.
Well, no, I've seen you shit. That'd be
folks who are listening to this who outside of St. Louis have no idea what the hell they're talking about. There's a reason. It's because this fucking shit cheese is only available in St. Louis because no other city is stupid enough to carry this fucking horse shit. It is a processed cheese food of Swiss and cheddar and Provel, and it can't be classified by the USDA as cheese, so it's a cheese food product. It's great for spackling your driveway or your walls or your bathroom and shit like that, but it's not fucking cheese.
Well,
so there will be no Provel on any cheese steak that I would ever come within 25 feet of, Pops. We're not doing that. If we're out having our Steakum cheesesteaks, you're not eating Provel. You're eating fucking provolone.
Well, folks, as you can see, Bob is still feisty as hell. He's been locked up way too long. I mean, we're nearing, we're with 3-4 weeks within a full year being locked up. But cheese aside, we are super excited to bring to you all our 12th episode. That's 1 full year of podcasts. Now, we're doing it monthly, right? So it's not, like 52 weeks a year, but still quite an accomplishment. And we really appreciate you, all you guys being along for the ride.
You believe that we've been doing this a year?
Shit. No. Can't believe I've been staring at you for a year through a screen. I mean, we got together, once in person for this thing?
One time in person, but out of safety for us and our families, we've done this all virtually.
That's right. And so we're adhering to the rules, staying safe, because we want to be bringing this to you guys for a long, long time. But so 1 year on the podcast, and we really appreciate everyone's feedback. It's been really a lot of fun getting emails from folks who are listening to the podcast, and everything from telling us how much they appreciate the honesty and the no bullshit approach to things, shooting straight, being honest about things, to taking on some topics that maybe other people don't want to take on because they're afraid they will offend a distillery. And hey, we're really enjoying people coming up and saying, hey, you know what? We want to send you some booze to try. We want you to try. In this case, we've got a couple folks who are going to be sending us some whiskey from Texas. If you listen to the last episode, if you remember, we had a breakthrough moment, and that in the craft shoot, we tried some whiskey sight unseen, and we liked it, and it was from Texas.
And if you're wondering, I think that, Pops, we owe everybody an apology, because this massive cold front that's over half of the nation is a result of that podcast, because hell froze over that we actually found a whiskey from Texas. And here we are now. So I don't know. Texas, don't send us a bill, but, I think we may have something to do with that.
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Now I feel all guilty and shit. But hey, keep the feedback coming, guys. We really appreciate it. And, it's not only our 1 year anniversary of the podcast. Today, it's March 1st, right? And back in February on the 21st, we celebrated actually 9 years of the nine-year anniversary of our first blog post for Bourbon and Banter. And then for those of you who have been along for the ride even longer, we actually launched this whole thing back in October of 2008. That's when we launched a Facebook page. That's when Bourbon and Banter first got started. So when you think about it, we've been at this game a really, really long time. And, that's saying a lot, right? And we couldn't do it without everybody's support, and obviously lots and lots of whiskey. So thank you guys. We really do appreciate that. So Bob, I have to ask a question for you. What the hell are you drinking?
Well, I have the Bourbon and Banter Russell's Reserve Private Pick. If there's a little left in the glass here, maybe I started a little early. Eggs and bourbon are never a bad thing in the morning. But I've got that. I've got something else down here actually that I am a big fan of. And if anybody has an extra one of these lying around, please feel free to send it our way. Is the limited edition Jack Daniel's single barrel proof rye that they put out late last year. Excellent. That I think has just started to hit our market here, but I haven't seen one yet. But it's fantastic. So,
awesome. Well,
and you know how I am with rye whiskey, so it's a rare thing for me to do that.
Well, I'm sipping on some Wyoming whiskey small batch again. Just really been hitting the spot for me the last couple of weeks. I've been doing a lot of virtual tastings using this instead of Maker's Mark or Larceny, with a lot of people really loving it. So if you haven't tried that out yet, guys, get your hands on that. And the other thing I've got today is a release from Defiance Whiskey, which is a company here in Missouri. They buy source whiskey from MGP, like a lot of people do, and they've been releasing whiskey. And so they dropped off a bottle the other day, which has a little bit older stock in it. And I forget off the top of my mind, I think it adds another year or two to it and into the blend. And I'm really digging it. I need to do a comparison to the older stuff as well. And unfortunately, they're not updating the bottle. They've got a lot of bottles, and so they don't want to change it because they silk screen their bottles and whatnot. But it's good to see them getting some older stocks and putting that in there. So I'll provide some feedback on that when we can. But speaking of some private picks, I'm going to give everybody a quick update. Our team is going to be heading down to Kentucky in just a couple weeks now. Our private pick trip is quickly approaching, and we're going to be doing a lot of picks inside of 2 days. So we're going to go down. We're going to do a 1792 foolproof pick at Barton, which will be fun. Then that afternoon, we're going to be going to Four Roses. And we mentioned this before. We were going to do a barrel strength pick down there. Just got the word that we've actually going to be doing two. We're doing one for our partner in town, Randall's. And then Bourbon and Banter got approved for their own barrel as well. So we're going to be doing two, which means when those come up to the market, we're going to have lots of amazing Four Roses available along with that Barton. And then the next day, we're heading over and we're going to do a couple picks at Luxco. We're going to do a Rebel Yell single barrel, Old Ezra single barrel, and then we're also going to do a Limestone Branch single barrel. So that's a lot of whiskey coming to town. And if that wasn't enough, we're going to be working with Randall's on a Remus pick again this year. And then I participated the other night in a very, very cool project that's resulting in two Maker's Mark private selection picks that'll be coming to market this spring. And it's going to be released, raising money for a great charity cause, which we'll talk about a little bit later on the website when we have the details to share. But those will be two fantastic ones that you're going to want to get. And you're going to want to get them in a set as well, because there's going to be some bonus gifts given to people who buy those in a set. So those will go actually on pre-sale in the next couple weeks or so as well. So make sure you signed up on the email list. Go to bourbonbanter.com, click the link, sign up for the email, and you'll know when that's coming and when you can dive in and get something for yourself. So stay tuned for that. All right, Bob, I think enough of us babbling around. Top off your glass. I'm going to go ahead and dive us into the whiskey news. So in what has got to be, at least in my opinion, the most impressive and clever use of a Jack Daniel's bottle, a young woman in the UK, Liverpool, I think exactly, actually knocked out her boyfriend's two front teeth with a bottle of Jack Daniel's. Apparently they got in a little bit of a fight, and I think she threw a bottle at him, and then she took another one and she hit him in the head with it and busted out two teeth, as well as obviously cuts and abrasions and whatnot. So, nothing like whiskey packs a punch as it is, but with a woman's force behind it, obviously it makes even a bigger impact. Now, she's done this. She obviously got arrested, and so what's her penalty for doing such a thing? So she's slapped with a suspended prison sentence, 100 hours of unpaid work, and a €250 fine.
I think Jack Daniels should pay that fine. You got to be really, to actually get 2 front teeth, you got to be pretty precise with the angle of that bottle, to get right in there and just bust him out. I want to know what he did, what happened that warranted this, though. That information's not in the story.
Oh, he could have just poured her a glass of Jack Daniels.
It could be, or was it Jack Black? Was it a single barrel bottle? Was it a gentleman Jack bottle?
Or maybe he was trying to convince her that Jack Daniels was a bourbon. I don't know.
That could have been it. Now that's worth it. I could see that, getting a couple front teeth knocked out for that.
I've seen, bar fights break out around that shit, so you never know. But anyway, yeah, Jack Daniels, time to step up and at least send her a bottle, or send him a bottle. He's the one that got injured. Give him a bottle to drown his sorrows. And something tells me he's going to probably pay her fine. I'm sure they'll make up just fine. These hot, passionate relationships, right? Well, this is not going to probably bust out a tooth, but I guess it might be. Apparently, the world is going to be given a gift this spring. First, quote-unquote, dram in a can. The world's first canned Irish whiskey. I know you've been waiting for that.
Oh, God. Because that's what everybody needs. You need Irish whiskey in a can.
That's right. It's going to hit the U.S. Market in March. It's going to be a 100 milliliter, 86 proof can of Irish whiskey. It's described as a complex blend of light and dark grain, pot still whiskey, and peated malt. Come on, you want some.
No, I don't want any of that shit. No, you can keep all that.
And
I'm guessing that folks who are real Scotch drinkers aren't gonna. I'm sorry, really real Irish whiskey drinkers aren't gonna want it either.
No, we are definitely
this is going to be sold right next to the Fireball and the Screwball bullshit and all the other stuff. It's your Irish whiskey. Somebody's going to buy it by mistake and think it's soda and chug it. And say, what the fuck?
Well, it's for those people on the go, clearly, right? And when you just are too busy for a flask, right? You don't have time to decant your own. But it's okay because they will also be releasing the same whiskey in a 750 milliliter bottle, and it's going to come out under the name of Two Stacks Blended Whiskey. So if you like it, you can do that. Now, if you want
2 stacks of what?
Well, apparently, if you buy the cans, right, it's $18.99 per 4-pack. So $20 for, roughly, how many milliliters did I say? It was 100. So
a little over half a bottle.
A little over half a bottle for $20. So there you go. Convenience has a price, and clearly, taste cannot be quantified in any stretch. So anyway, if you're looking for dram in the can or anything else in the can, we got you covered with our news. Moving onwards to other markets, and sadly, I have nothing from.
I let that one sit right out there. I just left that one out there.
The restraint you're practicing is amazing. Sad to report, though, that I have no news on South Africa this week or this month. But what I do have is the Japanese whiskey market has finally gotten around to setting some standards for Japanese whiskey. I don't know if you knew this, Bob, but Japanese whiskey has had a notoriously lax set of rules, such that Japanese whiskey could actually be whiskey that was brought in from somewhere like Scotland, right? They can import the whiskey and do something to it or do nothing to it and put it in a bottle and sell it and call it Japanese whiskey, which obviously doesn't do a lot for your credibility. So luckily, the industry got together and put some rules together finally that'll go into effect here shortly, basically quantifying exactly what makes a Japanese whiskey. So for those of you who have been interested in that market or maybe already enjoy Japanese whiskey, you're going to have some standards put in place that are going to be very similar to things in Scotland. Obviously, the whiskey has to be distilled in Japan, made from grains from Japan, bottled and aged for a minimum, I believe, of 3 years as well, aligning itself with similar rules from Scotland and from Ireland. So that'll be going in place. Obviously, things that are in the market already will be allowed to stay in market for a period of time, but within a certain period of time, everything will be adhering to these new rules. It is voluntary to adhere to these rules, so there may be some wayward producers out there that don't follow the rules, but all the major whiskey distilleries in Japan, at least the ones that matter most, have agreed to this and saying this is a good idea for the industry. So exciting news coming out of Japan, and something to keep an eye on in the future.
I'm surprised it took that long to really come through that, because that doesn't sound like what you would expect.
Right. Well, no, and especially because, for the most part, Japanese whiskey is very respected, right? I mean, it's fetching some huge prices, certain versions of it, right? But when you have that ability that you don't have to meet certain standards, it's kind of like before bourbon was quantified, right? It could be whatever you want. So there was good stuff, but then there was questionable stuff. So taking steps to do that, which I think is great. A little closer to home, though, it's been a rough year for the Bourbon Trail and tourism. Apparently this year that there was a significant drop, about a 66% decrease in tourists to the trail. This year there was only about 587,000 people that made the trip compared to 1.7 million in 2019. So obviously COVID is behind this significant drop, but I think it's important for everyone to know this. So if you are planning a trip or you wanted to go on, obviously we don't want you to rush out, obviously stay safe, but as soon as things are okay to go out, please do your best to go out there, put some money back into those markets. I'm not so worried about the big distilleries and their money, but I'm more worried about the people that work there, that run the tourist shops, that lead the tours, and keep the local economies in those communities around those going. Because obviously, if those continue to go under, people have to move, they have to find jobs, and it becomes harder and harder to bring back these types of things. So when you feel comfortable, please go out, support a distillery, go online, watch their virtual events, let them know you're out there and eager to get down there when you can this year. And hopefully we get those numbers back up and get everybody back into, a regular cadence of bourbon tourism. And then also, I don't have it in front of me, but I did see today that Brown-Forman is committed, I think it's $95 million to doubling the capacity of their Louisville distillery and operations, which once again, people keep saying, when is the bourbon boom going to stop, right? When are we going to reach that tipping point? Every time I see one of these significant investments, it becomes very clear that the answer is not anytime soon. So keep going, guys. Keep drinking. Get back out there, and let's make sure all these investments pay off and we can keep drinking the whiskey we love for years to come. All right, Bob, this is the 12th episode, 1 year. And I can't wait to see what your spies have come up with for this week. What are you going to hit us with? What's your insider
you're talking about increased investments, and everybody's been building on for capacity things, and those who have listened to us over the last year, that there's a particular distillery that I have a great affinity for, and both of us really have a great affinity for. So this news should come as no surprise that we're going into our 1 year, and we're going to finally throw out the first bit of secret spy work from our friends at Four Roses. And down there in Lawrenceburg, Cox's Creek, they are developing a new top-tier warehouse. So they are the darling distillery of many whiskey nerds. They are in the developmental stages right now of a warehouse design that are going to take that, high rye Four Roses bourbon to a whole other level, literally. So, everyone, for the longest time, we've all thought of Four Roses as the most transparent distillery in bourbon. And recent years have seen the barrel-proof bottles become some of the most sought-after releases in all of American whiskey. The stuff is flying off the shelf when it comes in, and now it's going in for allocation to where you've got to, be in raffles to even get a bottle out of a private barrel. And as a lot of us are aware, many of the high-tier bottles have been garnering some epic reputation.
And when you mean high tier, what are you referring to? Just in case
I know. So when I mean high tier, I mean 5th and 6th tier. So okay. Four Roses, a lot of folks know they're the only folks in bourbon that have single-story warehouses to maintain consistency. And whereas you may have a massive warehouse that could be 20, 30 more barrels high, Four Roses only has 6 ricks in their warehouse. So whereas an average rick house will vary in temperatures, 30 to 40 degrees from top to bottom, Four Roses only has 7 degrees in temperature variance. So they barrel at 120 proof. The first 2 tiers are going to be lower. The top 2 tiers are going to be higher. The middle 2 tiers are going to come in right around that. So with the higher tier barrels giving us the highest proof of any Four Roses bourbon, they'll get into the upper 120s. Some have even come into the low 130s. Not a lot, but a few have. To capitalize on the increase for the higher proof bourbon, Kieran has been working, the Four Roses parent company. Kieran's been working with architects and physicists from both the U.S. and Japan to analyze airflow impact, temperature fluctuations, other variants. And they're currently constructing the first ever top-tier warehouse in Cox's Creek, exclusively for the use of aging barrels destined for that single-barrel barrel-proof program. So the first 4 tiers that are usually occupied by barrels are going to be turned into seasonal tasting and barrel picking room. So when the barrels are ready, customers are going to be able to sample barrels from their actual storage location. They're not going to be relocated to where the current tasting room is. They're not going to be needed moved out of the rick for tasting. They're going to construct it so that Mandy Vance, the private barrel manager, will lead buyers through the floors of the warehouse and be able to thieve the barrels as she goes through. And then the tasting process, the barrel selection process will happen on the ground floor of that warehouse when temperatures are above 50 degrees and below 110. So, if it's really cold or super, super hot, they don't want to use it. There's not going to be any heating or cooling elements down on those first 4 floors. For the room, because they don't want the bourbon to be affected. So it's only going to be affected by the hot air from the clients below.
All right. So if I got this right, they're going to construct it so just the top 2 ricks, is that? So
correct. Tiers 5 and 6 will be the only tiers that hold barrels. And another thing about this is that for filling, they'll be able to fill them quicker. They'll be able to build them quicker, but they're just going to try it out this first time.
Got it. Interesting.
So additional consideration has been given to making the warehouse a convertible top house, similar to, like the sports stadiums where you have the retractable roofs, so it can be open in the summer to allow for maximum penetration.
That's what she said.
Of the sun's rays. So the added heat will help drive the whiskey deeper into the barrels without the need for playing any music whatsoever, any other falsified sonic aging processes. So, they haven't decided whether or not to do it because it is a little bit more expensive, and they've already expanded the distillery in Lawrenceburg for that came in a lot more. So we'll see. The question, of course, on everybody's mind is whether or not what recipes are they going to put in this warehouse. And early reports are that both mash bills will be used mainly with the K and the V yeast strain, comprising about 75% of the inventory, because those recipes show best at higher proofs. Now, F may be put in there, but they're not quite sure yet. Brent is working with his team to just, to see what is, the OESVs that have come out of those top tiers in the south side of the P warehouse have just been fantastic. So if they can do some things, if they can recreate that P, it would be really fantastic.
So what's kind of the time frame for all this?
Well, construction is set to begin in the spring and to take about 8 months. So they're going to probably, since the barrels at those higher proofs start to mature around 8 years, new fill could be ready by 2029 if they're able to get things in later this year. There's also the potential for some current top-tier barrels to be transitioned and relocated to that warehouse, but no decision has been made yet on that. They could take some that have been aging for a couple of years or almost near and move them there to see, what kind of effects. So I'm really excited about this because, as you know, I'm a huge fan of top-tier barrels from Four Roses. I've had some of the 6th tiers and the 5th tiers that have just been really, really fantastic.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is kind of interesting, right? You don't hear anybody else doing anything like this, and it may not be, I guess, maybe the most efficient way to do rickhouse, but I think it's definitely an interesting way to cater to customers. And for me, I don't know what they're calling this project, but for me, I'm going to call this Project Cabriolet, right? Kind of a fancy pop top, if you will. But the nice thing is that they're going to give the old Tornado whiskey a run for the money, right? Just this one, we open the top for 6 months or we open the top for 3 months. Who knows?
Well, the thinking about it is that, it allows them to get maximum exposure on those top tiers quickly because, right now they built a few warehouses over the last few years, but they, the top tiers will fill up. So this is something that they can do quicker. They can get them in those positions earlier, so, and they do not want to go to more than a single story warehouse. So that would be one way to possibly do it, but they're not open to that. They want to stay true to their tradition because that's who they are. So
All
we'll
right.
have to wait and see what happens.
All right. Well, exciting news for our 12th episode, right? Four Roses is one of our favorite. And, like we said earlier in the show, we're going to go down there, pick a couple barrels ourselves. Once again, proof of how popular these barrel strength ones are. We don't know what Rickards is going to come from, right? Because they don't tell you until you've picked it. But exciting news, and I think the whiskey nerds will be very, very excited about that. So glad you delivered big time for our 1 year anniversary episode. Folks, we hope you've enjoyed some of those whiskey news highlights that are out there. And once again, we're always on the hunt for other insider tips and things that you're interested in. So drop us a note at podcast@bourbonbanter.com. Let us know what you think. You can also find us on all the social channels at Bourbon Banter. All right, folks, welcome back to the Craft Shoot. If you've been here before, you know the rules. For those that you have not been here before, where the hell have you been? All right, Craft Shoot is really simple. We have taken a collection of whiskeys, or I should say my lovely wife has taken a collection of whiskeys from my shelf, all from craft distillers, and she has put them into bottles without labels and blindly deliver those to Bob and I. So we have a series of envelopes with numbers on them. We pick a number that we haven't done yet. We pour the sample out. We don't know what it is. We're going to taste it. We're going to give you our first impressions. And then only after we've done that, we're going to tear open that envelope and find out what it is we drank. So this is truly a blind experience. And as we said, lots of craft distillers maybe won't have a good day when they hear what we have to say. But the lucky few that pass the test, quite frankly, there's no bigger honor that you can be bestowed upon you than to please both of our palates. And just for the record, Bob, I just want to make this very clear. We don't charge anybody for this.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, we're not charging. We don't charge anyone for this. You don't have to spend $2,000 to get your whiskey in a Craft Shoot so you can go home with the fucking medal that was bought. Nothing like that has to happen. So, unvarnished, honest, uncompromised from the most honest team in bourbon.
That's right. This whiskey is picked from my collection, which the sources of these whiskeys are things that I have purchased and things that have been sent to us for review. So that's about as close to a promotional endorsement that you get, and they sit on my shelves. Sometimes they've been reviewed already, sometimes they haven't. So that's the Craft Shoot. So that being said, let's go ahead and dive in here, Bob. Let's go ahead and start nosing this whiskey.
It's a very light nose, but I get a little floral, a little honey, a little sweetness on the nose.
Okay. Now, see, I was going to, this is cool because we're going to be different here. So actually for me, I've thought actually the nose was very floral, very strong. I'm picking up some bubble gum, almost some bubblicious bubble gum on the nose. Lots of fruit in there, maybe some cherries, some, there's even like a little bit of a licorice note in there in the nose. I actually think the nose has got a lot going on. There's also a little bit of green wood as well. Actually, you know what? I'm actually go with green apple. All right.
I'll go with the green wood because if you smell really close and get your ear close to it, you can hear "I'm proud to be an American."
Oh, okay. Don't tip him off. Don't tip him off for the bullshit segment. All right, let's go ahead and dive in here. All right. Well, everything that was going on in the nose is not going on in the palate. The nose definitely wins versus nose versus palate.
It's not bad. I get that. I get a little of that Play-Doh that I've gotten. That yeasty, biscuit dough type of thing happening there.
Yeah, I'm getting. The required note of vanilla, right? That's there. But I get some of that licorice, some of that anise flavor in there as well. That is coming through, picking up on the nose. But like the green apple's not coming through, right? The floral notes aren't really there.
I get a little bit of spice in the back end. It's got a longer finish than I had expected. It's about a medium-like finish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
lots of ochre in the finish.
It's a very, it's all right. I wouldn't, I wouldn't shit pan it.
No, not at all. And
I wouldn't put it at a bust.
Mm-mm. But I tell you what, based on the nose in this thing, I actually was kind of leaning toward a rye. But then as I'm drinking it, I'm not quite sure anymore. Hold on, one more sip. I know we're drawing this out. Sorry, folks. But then again, we're not going to talk about a whiskey for 30 minutes like some people do. So
No, we're not going to make up a bunch of words. We're not going to have a thesaurus here.
You know, for something that kind of smelled young, there's a lot of oak and tannins in the back end of this one for me, which is kind of bringing it down. I mean, once again, not horrible, not fantastic. May work good in an old fashioned. I think it'd be kind of fun to throw it in a drink and see how it works. And then, far as the proof goes on this one, I'm going to think somewhere short of 100 proof on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to say 92.7.
Okay, not 92.8?
No, 92.7.
Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and let's unveil this bad boy. Or bad girl. All right, so what we are drinking is, there we go. It is Riverset Straight Rye Whiskey. All right, so I got it right with the rye. That's kind of cool. Let's look these guys up real quick.
Riverset Straight Rye. Don't tell me it's aged on a river.
No, it's just set on a river.
Okay.
No, so actually I'm looking up because Matt Self from the Bourbon and Banter team did a review of this a while back. So this comes from BR Distilling Company out of, I think it's Memphis, Tennessee. The distiller is undisclosed. Now, what's interesting is this, interesting enough, is a 95 rye. So 95% rye.
Well, we know where that's coming from.
Well, that's the thing, 5% malted barley. So initially everyone will think that came from MGP. However, this is where it gets confusing. They say on their website, and looking at the bottle I just grabbed, that it's distilled in Tennessee. Now, they're not saying they distilled it. It's undisclosed, but they're saying it was distilled in Tennessee, and this is actually a minimum of 4 years old. So it's kind of a little bit of a mystery here, is because who in Tennessee is making a 95.5 rye? 95.5 rye is almost MGP.
I know people in Tennessee that are buying a 95.5 rye.
Sure, there's a big distillery that buys it and puts it through a certain Lincoln County process and sells it. But if that's who they're sourcing it from, which would be a double sourcing, right? First source from MGP, then sourced by Dickel. We can say their names. Everybody knows who it is.
Everybody knows who we're talking about.
That seems really ridiculous. And this doesn't taste like it's got that fingerprint on it. So if anybody knows, right, because we just found out what this was, so we haven't talked to the distiller, and I don't think Matt did. I'd really be curious if there's a smaller independent distiller that's making this stuff and coming to these guys. But this is going to come in at 93 proof.
Look at that! I was right.
So Price is Right rules. You would have walked home with the Rice-A-Roni year-long gift pack.
No, I'm telling you, what is 92.7 round 2? 93. So goddamn it, I'm right. That's Bob's math for you today.
That's Bob's math for you. All right, fine. MSRP on this. Oh, that's good to see. Only $29.99.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So they're not going to require any ankles for to purchase this one. Hey, I said it. It's there. Matt kind of rated this one as a bottle. He said this is, quote unquote, this is a rye whiskey that you can drink neat or form a solid base for a cocktail. So, hey, look at that. He and I agreeing on something there. I think, I could smell it for a long time. But I think it's a little too tannic, a little too oaky for me to really enjoy sipping it neat. But I definitely am going to put some in a cocktail tonight and see where we net out.
Can you believe that's what, 2 months in a row where the craft shoot has come in and pleasantly surprised us?
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, if you like rye and you're kind of looking for a slightly different flavor profile, check this out. I mean, I think Matt's notes actually talk about how he thought that this was a bourbon. And it says it doesn't drink like your typical rye. So check it out. Like I said, it's not going to win any awards. It's not going to blow you away, but $30, you can spend it a lot of worse ways, which actually we'll talk about that in a minute or two when we get to the Bourbon Bullshit segment of the stupid shit that people are willing to pay extra for. Save your money. I mean, save your money. I won't say any more right now. So there you guys, folks. Check it out. Riverset Rye, Their website address, if I can get my browser here to expand, is riversetrye.com. Check it out. And they do have a single barrel that's out there as well. That would be kind of interesting to try. But anyway, give them a shot. If you know any details that we don't, let us know. Podcast@bourbonbanter.com. And if there are any independent craft folks out there listening and you want to step up and get involved with the craft shoot, let us know. Send us an email at podcast@bourbonbanter.com, and we will get your whiskey in the rotation. Also have someone on the team give it a review as well. We're always happy to do so and educate people on the choices that are out there. So until the next episode, guys, I hope you guys have something new to check out. All right, folks, you've made it to the end. That's right, to Bourbon Bullshit, the internet's #1 bourbon podcast segment. Boy, oh boy, for our anniversary, do we have some great things to talk about today. Got a lot of it, so this segment's going to be a little bit longer, but since we know this is everyone's favorite segment, we know that's going to be good. But before we get into it, go ahead, pause, go refill your glass, or, just grab the whole goddamn fucking bottle. Just bring the whole bottle over, bring it next to your chair, bring a glass, then hit play, and away we go. So I'm going to tee you off, Bob, because I've got to ask you, because I know you are an connoisseur of ice cream and donuts, but ice cream's up there. I'm going to say a couple words to you, and I want your just honest answer. You ready? Ben & Jerry's Whistle Pig ice cream.
You must be out of your goddamn mind.
Look, I love Ben & Jerry's ice cream. Okay, I am a big fan of Ben & Jerry's ice cream. I always, when I'm not doing the low carb thing, there's always a couple pints of Ben & Jerry's in the freezer. However, there's no Whistle Pig in this house, nor will there be, unless they're sending me some, and even then I'll give it to a friend. Fuck. I have never been a big one for whiskey in my food. I'll have whiskey with my food, but I don't want it in my food necessarily, except for a killer bourbon steak that we do every New Year's Eve. But that being said, I saw this thing. Oh, the Vermont ice cream, Ben & Jerry's is partnering with the Vermont, by way of Canada and Indiana distillery. But they're using the piggy fuck or piggyback or whatever the local farms. I don't know what the fuck it is. Their local little thing.
Piggyback rye.
Piggyback rye. Well, I don't know. It's pig ass rye. So just stay the fuck out of my goddamn ice cream. Come on. I don't want to see that shit. You know what? It would be great if you want to do something. When I think Whistle Pig, I don't think fucking ice cream. I think overrated rye whiskey. When I think ice cream, if I'm going to be thinking about those flavors like chocolate ice cream, you know what I would think of? I would think of barrel proof Jack Daniels.
Oh,
that chocolate banana, that would, if you had to put some whiskey, because I've had some of these whiskey. Haagen-Dazs has got a bourbon vanilla some shit that doesn't. It tastes like somebody put some bourbon quote unquote flavoring, So just fucking stop it. Whistle Pig popping up in Ben & Jerry's. Kiss my ass.
Well, for those of you who have not read the details, I'm going to let Bob take a drink and settle down here. So the distillery describes the spiked ice cream as over the top, and the flavor profile certainly smacks of decadence. The brown butter bourbon base is jam-packed with chunks of blonde brownies, and then topped with white chocolate ganache and fudge pieces. Whistle Pig's award-winning piggyback rye is cooked into caramel swirls that run throughout the ice cream. Now, I have to tell you, I'm not a fan of blonde brownies. I don't need white chocolate. I'm a purist, right? I like vanilla. I like chocolate. These what the hell is white chocolate? Just don't get me going on that kind of shit. So
now, so I'll say my wife and I are big fans of Lindt white chocolate truffles. Those things are fantastic. But you're right. As you're saying that, I'm thinking it's like blonde brownies. Blonde brownies is somebody fucked up the brownies, forgot to put the chocolate in. I don't fucking know. I want a chocolate brownie. And Ben & Jerry's chocolate brownie core ice cream is pretty damn good. Mm-hmm. Take it from me. I know. But no, I don't want every time you get a blonde brownie, some shit like, you're like, oh, why the fuck they do that? Why isn't it a chocolate brownie? Why is it just a regular fucking brownie?
Right.
because it's Whistle Pig. So you don't have regular fucking whiskey. Why have a regular fucking brownie in there? You just
I wonder where they source the brownie from.
I don't know. It could be. Who knows? That's a very good question. Maybe we should write and ask them that. If anybody knows where Whistle Pig sources the brownie from, then let's find out.
That's right. Well, I'll tell everyone to save some money. I mean, hey, this might taste great. I don't know, but I can tell you, if you just want some bourbon flavor, and you don't want to spend a fortune, just go to your dairy aisle. Turkey Hill ice cream has a brown sugar bourbon vanilla that I love. I think it's great. I'm not telling you it tastes like bourbon. I love it. It's good. So, the good news is Bob and I will fight over the dozen donuts, but we each have our own ice cream preferences. So anyway,
that's right.
I thought that was a good one to get going. So if any of you guys listening have tried this, let us know. Once again, it could taste great, but conceptually, the whole idea of Whistle Pig doing this is, it's marketing bullshit at its best. So speaking of bullshit at its best, Bob, you shared with me the other day that you went ballistic and you've muted now all of your whiskey Facebook groups. What the hell? What pushed you over the edge?
I couldn't take it anymore. I was going through my social media feed, through my Facebook feed, and I wasn't seeing anything from friends, from like actual friends. And don't fucking start. I know you say, "Oh, you don't have any friends." Well, fuck you. I do. God damn it. So. The reason being, I just loaded up with all this horseshit commentary from these fucking whiskey groups. And I say horseshit commentary because it's not like it's, thoughtful, conversational things about whiskey from people who know what the fuck they're talking about. It's about somebody who's gone out and found E.H. Taylor's small batch and they've got to post a crotch shot and let everybody know there are 2 more at the grocery store 3 miles away. I don't fucking care. If I want that, I'll go buy it. It's just it's overrun with all of this horse shit, and I cannot fucking take it anymore. So,
well, I know what you're saying, because obviously my Facebook feed is primarily whiskey stuff as well, and I totally I tune it out, right? I don't read most of it, but it's going to be interesting if you're going to have crotch shot withdrawal, because you muted all that. Where are you going to get your daily crotch shots at? I mean,
I see a lot of whiskey stuff on Instagram. And that is usually a lot more engaging and interesting for me than what I find on Facebook. Facebook has just gotten to be just running off at the mouth from fucking everybody.
Well,
and the people are going to say, "Oh, well, who cares if they want to talk about it?" I say, "Okay, yeah, they want to talk about it, let them talk about it." But I don't want to fucking listen to it, so I muted the shit.
Well, right. So I mean, once again, you're complaining about what you're seeing, but you've taken the right step, right? You haven't said stop posting it because I don't want to see it. You fucking mute it, right? But it brings up an interesting thing. I got a couple emails after our last podcast. A couple guys wrote in complimenting us on everything, which was always cool, and appreciate that. But they were also asking if we had a group, like some sort of community where they could go and chat. And I said, nah, we decided long ago we weren't going to go the route of a Facebook group. Yeah, sure, we can get 20, 30,000, 50,000 plus people in a group. But when everyone is yelling at each other using Facebook rules of sanity, or mutual respect, that's not for us, right? So, and a couple came back to us and said, yeah, but we'd still like to do something. So I'm gonna throw this out here. I'm not saying we're gonna do this, but if you're listening and you have an opinion, let us know. Would you be interested in a Bourbon and Banter community? We would not do it on Facebook. I'm thinking we might use something like Slack. That's what we use for our internal team communication, but we'd create a separate account for everyone else and create something. It'd be free to access it. And we just, have a couple rules, like, for example, no crotch shots would be one. No shitting on people would be another one. No trolls. I mean, we'll just delete people, kick them out right and left. And if you want to, have topics, you can feed into us. And would that be something of interest to people?
Wait a minute. No shitting on people? What is this whole segment about? How can we have the Bourbon and Banter group?
No. What I mean is no trolling people, right? No going after them personal. Right?
That's true. And of course, we would have a number of rules that we wouldn't actually tell people. We would just enforce privately amongst ourselves, and you might wind up getting thrown out for you have no fucking reason why, and you're not going to get one. So think about it.
I prefer to say lots of surprises for users. But no, it's a serious question. If people would find value in that, because there's a lot of groups out there, as Bob said. There's a lot of bad behavior. It's just hard to follow, right? So with something like Slack, we can actually have threads around certain conversations. So if you want to talk about whiskey in your local town, there could be a thread about your local town, and then no one else has to listen, right? So let us know, podcast@bourbonbanter.com, and we'll see if it's something we can look into. Always happy to keep people, engaged and communicating in a way that makes sense. So you brought up the topic of Instagram, and you see stuff that's engaging. But I mean, I just got to call out. I mean, you were part of this. So yesterday, yesterday, there was a post that a company in Amsterdam put online, Must Have Malts, put forth that they were selling a special import for them version of Buffalo Trace that came with a tube. Okay, so if you've bought a lot of scotch, a lot of scotch comes in those cardboard tubes, helps protect it from the light, adds a little bit more, visual appeal to the package and whatnot. And they had one with Buffalo Trace. Apparently the bottle was made for the French market, and this company in Amsterdam had it and said, hey, this special bottle, and they charge more for it. So if you're in Europe and you're buying it with VAT included, the taxes included, I think it was like 61 euros versus if you bought just a bottle of Buffalo Trace in France, anywhere from 34 to 36. So it was almost double the price because they added this tube. Well, our very own Aaron Petrie commented on it. It's like, hey, so you're selling this thing for all this extra money, and the only difference is a tube. You might want to make sure people understand that there's nothing actually unique about the whiskey, right? I mean, I think a good call out, so that people aren't just thinking they're getting some special liquid, like it was a single barrel or something really unique. It's just 90 proof Buffalo Trace. And the brand, to their credit, chimed in like, no, we knew people were going to ask this question. You're absolutely right. So this may not be for everybody. If that had been all, that would have been great, right? Simple. Aaron mentioned, they responded. It was civil. It was great. Instead, some asshat jumped in and decided to go after Aaron and tear into her, but not only about her comment, but about the fact that she teaches cocktail classes, gets paid for it, and just went on and kept complaining, and basically was like, no, it's a great deal. He displayed unique sense of being an asshole, lack of mathematical calculation capability.
Despite multiple times
right.
of us correcting him, because I actually got a notice too, and it's like, we did the math. I went in and put the goddamn bottle in my cart and went to check out so I could see exactly what they were charging me for shipping. And it's exactly what Aaron said it was. Mm-hmm. And this asshat from fucking New Jersey went on to say that, oh, no, it's not. He kept changing the fucking number. Oh, it's only this, it's only this, it's only this. Well, something, I am immensely wealthy, so I can afford to do this.
That was his quote, not you. You're not immensely wealthy.
That was his quote. Yeah, he's like, well, so what? So I am immensely wealthy, so fuck you.
So basically it boils down to, if you want it shipped to the U.S., right, $110 for a standard bottle of Buffalo Trace with a tube. So I pointed out the fact that you get this in France for, half the price. He comes back and says, well, yeah, I can get a bottle of Buffalo Trace in New Jersey for $30. I don't see what your point is. Well, I wasn't going to respond to keep it going. Clearly this irritated me. My point is, you're a fucking idiot. You're paying $110 to have a tube, and you bought like 8 of them. And we've checked your social. We've checked what you're doing. Just stop. There's a reason the secondary market's ridiculous. Just stop, okay? For those of you who really like the tube and you have the money to spend and do it, that's fine. But everybody, we need to stop trolling people online. Stop going after people and making it personal. We're only bringing this to light because of how the person attacked one of our own. But at the end of the day, make sure you understand what you're buying. Don't fall for a thing of, oh, it's a pretty tube, or look, it's wax on top of the bottle. That doesn't add value. Okay, maybe it makes it a little more collectible, but once again, people understand that we want you to know that you're paying extra for the tube. You're not paying extra for some special whiskey. And that's where it all started, which was just like, know what you're buying and understand what you're buying. And quite frankly, I can't understand why some individual consumer even gave a shit.
Unless they wanted to be able to resell a bunch of bottles after they bought them.
Oh, I think we tanked
This
that.
was their line.
The fact that other people came in and thanked us for jumping in, I think says it all.
Well, the other thing about it, though, that I also want to say is that, the first thing that this asshat says is oh, you can go get a cocktail instruction on YouTube for free. And I work in an industry that employs a lot of gig workers, and those folks are always people are always trying to take advantage of those workers to get something for nothing. And what this shithead is saying has absolutely nothing to do with what Aaron is doing.
Right.
You know, it's like, yeah, it's not that. It's a personalized, because you remember that, I forget who it was. There was a woman making cocktails on YouTube a couple years ago that like poured like 3 ounces of a whiskey into something. It's like, you get what you pay for, but you're also getting someone's time, not just telling you how to make a cocktail. You're getting editing time, you're getting recording time, you're getting writing time, you're getting all of the other stuff, you know, that goes along with this. It's like the people who ask musicians to play for free because it's great exposure.
Right.
You know, that drives me up the freaking wall. I will not recommend musicians if someone tells me, well, can they do this gig for free? It's great exposure. So, no, I don't recommend musicians play for free ever.
Mm-hmm. No.
So,
we've all been there.
You know, the fact that that's where the guy went, instead of just saying, well, I want the tube, it's like, well, you know, here's what you're doing and you can do this shit for free. It's like, you know, you want to reach out and touch someone, but just, you know, completely shitting on what they're doing. And there's a lot of people that are doing that things and providing a great service and a personalized service, you know, and you can get a cocktail. Fucking, you want to make a cocktail, you get a recipe, you go make a cocktail. That's not what she's doing,
right,
at all. And it's and on top of all of that, it's hugely engaging and entertaining what she's doing.
No, absolutely.
And that shit does not come for free.
No.
And the ability to do that is not for free. So fuck this guy, whatever it was, Jersey Mike 20, whatever.
No. Email us at podcast@bourbonbanter.com. We'll give you his handle and you guys can all chime in. But I just want to close this one out. You know, obviously he went after one of our own, and so we're protective of our team, and I think rightly so. And but I just, you know, I think what's important here is, once again, is Aaron's comment was just clarifying that you're paying extra for a tube. And if that's what you want to do, that's cool, but it's not different whiskey. And the brand took it in stride. They know what they're doing, right? And it's a collector's thing. But then for some random person to come in and tear into her because of that, and then all hell broke loose. So, but, you know, the big thing that I was really hoping, and I commented such, was there's no better experts in the value of a cardboard tube than Pringles. And I really had hoped that Pringles would jump in.
That's true.
And settle this debate. So in the off chance that someone who works for Pringles is listening to this podcast, please let us know, really, are we misjudging the value of the cardboard tube and what it does to the whiskey? And should we be looking at this from a different angle?
And if the people from Pringles are listening to this, okay, I have been a Pringles fan for a long time. If you see my profile picture, you can tell. So look, please, I'm begging you, bring back the cheeseburger Pringles. I miss the cheeseburger Pringles. I found out that you guys did a Wendy's Baconator cheeseburger Pringle, but you did it last year and it's not available anymore. So if anybody listening has a line on some cheeseburger or Baconator Pringles, or if the folks at Pringles, I'm begging you, come on, throw us a bone. I see the pizza one out there all the time. There's pizza everywhere. Give us that cheeseburger chip. Give us that cheeseburger. On behalf of fat people everywhere, please give us that cheeseburger chip back.
Well,
friends
hey, we're always looking for podcast ad sponsors. And, you know, I think this, you know, people drinking whiskey, especially a lot of whiskey like us, we got the munchies too. So don't throw all your ad budget just into those new cannabis startups. Think about us whiskey folks as well. And same goes for you, Taco Bell. I'm looking at you. All right. So this next topic, this is all you, man. Go ahead and take your shot at Screwball, man. Go for it.
You know, so it's what's funny is, and this reminded me of this. I was having a conversation with a friend and a coworker this morning that they asked me about Screwball peanut butter whiskey, and you know, they hate it. They just it makes them, you know, cringe. It's one of those things that makes your asshole clench up when you hear about it. But this has been on our Bourbon Bullshit list for a couple months now, because, you know, towards the end of last year, I had seen the new ad campaign rolled out with Get Screwed, and they're giving away a black van with like black shag carpeting and hashtag Get Screwed. And I'm like, are you fucking, is there a 22-year-old asshole, frat president running your marketing campaign that you've got to do this? And you're not going to spell screwed right because it's the name of the, the whiskey's got a K in it because, okay, fuck. But I'm like, why do you need to just draw attention? Like, oh, this is basically, going after the lowest common denominator of people, and so you've got "Get Screwed" on the back of a black van with shag carpeting on the inside. What does that tell you if you see that? It tells me that there's some kind of misogynistic prick asshole driving that van.
I think it's
I don't
Jr.
need that
doing those
fucking
commercials. Shit. It's funny. I mean, the industry has come so far, right? Because that would have been de rigueur in the 80s, right? Spuds McKenzie, all that kind of stuff. And let's face it, when you market alcohol, it's really hard to differentiate yourself on something real. And that's not taking anything away. I mean, think about all the commercial attempts that Woodford has. Woodford's a great whiskey. People love it. But their commercials, it's like 200 flavors, or it's a Woodford moment, or whatever. I mean, it's hard, right? That's why vodkas use celebrities, right? And try to make you say you live a glitzy lifestyle and things of that nature. So it's hard to differentiate, but to go down to that level and go that route to get it, it's kind of like, who are you really trying to go after? Because a lot of the people that I know that like the product are actually, people with kids. They don't drink regular whiskey, but they enjoy this because it's different, and they put it in milkshakes and things of that nature. Which once again, if I wanted a milkshake with booze in it and you gave me that, I probably would like it. So once again, it's interesting that kind of stuff happens, and they're not going to stop unless people speak up about it. So if you think that this is missing the mark or doesn't fit in today's thing, send them a note. I
saw this right around the time, right after all the Jim Murray shit, came out and hit the fan. So it's like that comes out, and then here's this "Get Screwed" campaign in a black van with shag carpeting. I was like, fuck you. If I ever see that black van, I'm gonna fucking piss all over it. So you better hope that I don't find it.
Well,
here's the
thing: if you insist that you think your brand should have a van. Here, I'm going to give out, I'm in marketing in the day job. So here's my idea. I think it'd be really cool if someone came out with just an everyday man's whiskey, right? So something cheap, right? I'm not talking like pop off vodka level cheap, but I'm thinking, $15, right? And I think the spokesman, I mean, it's going to be hard. So, because, unfortunately the Chris Farley is no longer with us, but, I think, Matt Foley is endorsing, the whiskey you drink when you live in a van down by the river. I think that could be fun. You could do something interesting with that. So, once again, I'd get behind that, but this whole "Get Screwed" and this misogyny and things like that, just say no to that. So let us know what you think. Obviously, we're getting older and we're getting crankier, but I think they could do better, and they should try to do better. Because quite frankly, if you like flavored whiskey and you don't want it to taste like whiskey, I mean, this shit tastes like peanut butter. I mean, it nails it. And if that's your thing, you're not going to find another one that tastes more like peanut butter. So go for it. Speaking of tasting like things, this is something that kind of irritated me this week. Is we've been doing a lot of virtual tastings for folks across the country and having a lot of fun with it. And I was talking to a couple of clients, and they're like, "Well, do you guys put tasting water into the kits you guys send out?" I was like, "Tasting water? What do you mean?" "Well, yeah, a special bottle of water made for blending with whiskey." And clearly, I didn't hide my sighing or gut response well. And they're like, "Oh, is that not a thing?" I said, "Well, no, it's a thing for the people selling the tasting water." I said, "But to be honest with you," I said, "unless you live in Flint, Michigan, your water out of your tap is typically going to be fine. I mean, there's exceptions, right? I live in, you and I both live in St. Louis. So we've got the best tap water in the country, so we're a little spoiled. But in most cases, and once again, most people who are doing whiskey tastings who don't have sophisticated palates, right? You don't need to go out and track down special water. If you don't want to use your tap water, you just get a bottle of, bottled water. Don't get something purified. You still want the minerals and the elements in it, right? To have some character to the water. But put a drop or two of that in your whiskey to open it up, see how it changes the aroma and the flavor is all you need. You don't need fancy water. I mean, guy's got to make business. So once again, the guy's selling it, making money. Great for him. No different than somebody bottling regular water, right? But once again, you don't need to go to the ends of the earth. And quite frankly, I think the only time that I would ever get behind this is when the guys actually will bring in water from the streams that are used to make a certain scotch, right? So this is the actual water we use to make the scotch from Scotland. This is from that. That is interesting to me. I don't think at the end of the day it makes a whole bit of difference, but that's a lot better than just saying, hey, we got limestone filtered water and it's good with every whiskey. So for those of you guys who think that makes a big difference, I'm not getting behind that. So don't kill yourself looking for something special.
Because you're only using literally a drop or two. And when we say a drop or two, we're meaning like less than the size of a pencil eraser, little tiny drops of this water. It is not going to make a difference.
Right. So unless your water is off, I mean, if you got high,
chlorine or
like some additive flavor to it that's really throwing it off. Yeah. Just go to your store. But the point is buy some, Ice Mountain water or whatever.
Buy some spring water. Make sure you're buying spring. Yeah. That purified bullshit. I've got some friends that did an experiment one time where they were feeling terrible. They drank a lot of bottled water. They were musicians on the road and they decided to stop drinking purified water, only drink spring. They did this experiment. They immediately felt better. It was all the shit that's in that purified water. So don't get that. You can buy, I mean, no matter wherever you're at in the country, you can find spring water. The Midwest, we've got Ice Mountain. You've got Poland Springs in the East Coast. You've got all this other shit everywhere. You don't need to go get Fiji or Evian. Just get some spring water. You'll be just fine.
Absolutely. So speaking of flavors, things in the water, this is a big study. This was all over the whiskey news a week or two ago. And this is about research that is saying that they can show definitively now that terroir in whiskey actually does exist. All right. So terroir, for those of you who are not schooled in that from the wine world, is the French notion that environmental conditions such as soil, weather, and habitats can affect flavor. So with wine, terroir is very important, right? So you have certain vineyards in certain parts of the world or country, the richness of the soil, whether it may be volcanic-based soil or clay-based soil, whatever it is, then the wind-swept, vineyards or on the side of the ocean. All this goes in, and actually the whole idea is that it changes the flavor in the grapes, then ultimately go into the wine, right? So that's terroir has existed in wine. It obviously is a notion that some people carry around even into brandy, but wine's the big world. So this study was done in overseas in Europe, and I'm just going to paraphrase here. But it's the first thing. It's conducted by an international team of academics from U.S., Scotland, Greece, Belgium, and Ireland, and used the specific distillery, and I'm looking through the exact same thing here, and I'm missing it, so I apologize. I've been here bullshitting with this guy drinking. But basically, they decided to take a couple samples of barley samples that were two barley varieties that were grown on two farms with different environments in 2 different years, 2017, 2018, right? So they kind of normalized the experiment. They micro-malted and micro-distilled these in laboratory conditions to create 32 different whiskey distillate samples. They then ran lab analysis on this using gas chromatography, mass spectrometry, olfactory testing, as well as sensory experts. So these were actually humans then who are trained sensory experts to smell and taste. And so the research apparently identified 42 different flavor compounds, half of which were, quote unquote, directly influenced by the barley's terroir. Okay. So what they're saying is that we took this strand, this type of barley, we grew it in 2 different areas, right? We distilled them exactly the same, and everything was controlled and everything was the same except where the barley was grown. And as a result, they had different flavors and aromas. Okay. So that's the bottom line. So through that research, they are saying terroir exists. Now, what I find interesting about this is part of you says, well, sure, right? Environmental conditions can affect things. The big question for me is, one of the arguments I've often heard about this was that unlike wine, whiskey is distilled, right? And so when you distill, you are stripping out a lot of components from the whiskeys, right? So they've obviously tried to control for this, right? They're both distilled. I'm assuming they came off distills at the same, proofs, all this kind of stuff. Everything else consistent. So we got to judge it. I'm not a scientist, so I didn't read the full paper. It's going to be peer reviewed and everything. So we'll see what people come back. But once again, this is their findings from a unaged spirit. So the question then is, most people don't want to drink an unaged spirit, right? Whiskey is about being aged, right, into a barrel. So where I think it gets interesting is the next phase of the research is where they actually start aging it now. And, we know for a fact that when you start putting it in a barrel, right, everything changes, right? Because you're going to have wood from different trees of different ages. Trees are that, some trees that are on the edge of a forest versus inside a forest, right? High up on a hill, down on about a hill. So once again, if you suddenly get all of this terroir impact, right? So everything's influenced, right? Can you actually isolate enough to say this whiskey style is better because it was grown in the grain was grown in this region, but all these other things came into play. So you get all these other variables that winemaking doesn't have. It just gets so much more complicated for whiskey. So I'm going to be really curious to see if, while terroir exists, can you get it to a point where you can actually use it for marketing and differentiating a whiskey? And that's kind of where I'm curious to see what's going to go. My thing is I'm going to say no, because once again, if I'm in Texas is a big state, right? So if I get all my grain in Texas, it's not from Texas. It's got to be from a certain farm in a certain valley. And then the woods all got to be identical. So I don't know. Much people smarter than me, but this is a real kind of a moment that's fringing on science versus this is going to become marketing bullshit. And I'm not quite sure where I feel about it yet.
I'll tell you how I feel about it. To quote Jimmy Russell, just tell him to pour the whiskey in a glass. Just pour the fucking whiskey in a glass and shut up. Trying to, oh, goddamn. If this had been a thing, if this had really made a huge fucking difference, we would have been doing this shit the whole goddamn time. Just leave it the fuck alone. Just pour the whiskey in a glass, be done with it. That whole fucking segment made my head hurt. Just listen to all that shit going from all these fucking places. So, I mean, this is, yeah. And you're talking about barley. Barley is the lowest percentage of shit that goes into the fucking whiskey.
Well, for us, but for Scotch, it's everything. Right. So this is also the other thing of like when they say terroir exists in whiskey, well, can that really translate to American style whiskeys, right? Which is corn, which is rye, which is malted barley, which is wheat. And then once again, not everybody's getting the grain. So once again I guess for me, it's like, okay, so in a very controlled experiment, you've shown that it exists. And as with anything with science, right? People are always pursuing things to learn things. For me, it's going to be what's the end goal with this knowledge? Where is it going to go? What's going to happen with it? Because this is what brands like Jefferson's are built around, right? The whole idea of the ocean voyage, right? I wouldn't go as far as saying that's terroir. It's environmental, but it's not terroir. It's influenced, right? Everything else, who knows where they get the grain from batch to batch, right? They could be different. I don't know.
I heard Trey's got a truckload of grain coming from the Mars, the thing that just landed fucking yesterday. So it's gonna have a Mars Jefferson bourbon.
That's the new low gravity release.
Yeah.
So for me, once again, I like the science of it. I like to geek out sometimes, but for me, it's kind of like knowledge, which then gets used to confuse the fuck out of a consumer, right? And used for bad reasons, right? And say, well, this whiskey is worth more because it was on this field and off the come on, guys. So once again, we're far away from that, but I'm just going to call bullshit right now that when this happens, it's going to be used in a way that's just going to add to confusion. And that quite frankly isn't going to be used for good. So I'm calling it now. It'll probably be years before anybody gets to a point where it really matters, but I'm with you. Just drink the fucking whiskey if you like it or not. Because I can guarantee you that Bubba Smith's farm in rural Missouri, the corn that he produces is never going to be the reason why you buy a bottle of whiskey.
My favorite line about, climate and whiskey, again, is from Jimmy. And they asked Jimmy, like, are your warehouses climate controlled? He says, yeah, they're climate controlled. In the summertime, we open the windows, and in the wintertime, we close them. That's climate control, ain't it?
That's right. Yep. Just like when the people said, well, I taste this, this, and this in your whiskey, Jimmy. How do you get that? He's like, well, I didn't put any of that shit in there.
That's right, folks. So every answer you need in the whiskey world can be traced to Jimmy Russell.
And that's
you
why
he's
know
what it is.
That's why he's the Buddha of bourbon.
That's right. Just go ask Jimmy.
That's right. All right. So, well, shit, man, that was a lot of bourbon and bullshit. I mean, I think that was fitting of a 1-year anniversary. So, once again, guys and gals, if you've listened, hopefully you've enjoyed that. And, we know that opinions are going to vary on this type of stuff. So, once again, we want to hear your thoughts. So, drop us a note, podcast@bourbonbanter.com. And once again, if it's interesting and whatnot, we'll talk about it on the next show, post about it on social media and whatnot. So we really appreciate that. All right, Bob. So this wraps up 1 year of podcast. It's been a true pleasure having you along.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity, my friend. Likewise, it's been a pleasure to be here and give me an outlet, especially during this quarantine time, to yell and bitch and complain about things that are pissing me off in the whiskey world.
No, absolutely. And, for me, it's about just keeping things honest. And right, sure, sometimes we'll be a little rough. Sometimes we're overly nice. But I think the important thing is having a couple voices out in the industry that are making people realize that this isn't rocket science. This isn't open heart surgery. This is whiskey. It's fun. It's about connecting with people. It's about having a good time. And sometimes that requires us all to have a little bit of a shock to the system and whatnot. So along those lines, like we said, you have something you want us to talk about. You have a story. Let us know. We'll entertain it. Podcast@bourbonbanter.com. But more importantly, right, we can't keep this going without listeners like you. If you like the show, we want you to help us evangelize and spread the bourbon gospel and get more people. So please go on social media, share links, tell people how much you love the show. Tag us. All the social channels, we're at Bourbon Banter, right? We're easy to find. If you like us, go to podcast.bourbonbanter.com, which is the homepage of the podcast. Click on the Apple podcast logo. And when you get there, leave us a review. Now, don't just give us 5 stars, okay? But write some words, right? We're going to feature that. We'd like to put that in social media, let people know what's going on. And that's really important for us. It spreads the word. So please do that. And once again, keep the feedback coming. And remember, guys, stay safe out there. COVID's a bitch, right? So if you can't get together with people, get online, share a virtual drink, have some conversation, check in on people, have some whiskey ready. If you need to, drive by their house, put a bottle on their front porch. It'll be appreciated. We hear about a lot of people doing that, and we know it's always well received. So don't be shy. Drop half a bottle off. Keep half for yourself and drink it together. Talk about it. That's the thing to do, right? Keep everybody in the loop and connected. That's very, very important these days. And once again, when things open up, get down to the Bourbon Trail, get to your local bar, tip them big, buy a lot of whiskey, go crazy for a while if you can afford it. Let's get things back to normal. But on behalf of everybody here at Bourbon and Banter, thanks again. And remember, folks, if you're going to drink
curious.
Well, what's your preference?
Bourbon, if you got it.
Bourbon from Kentucky.
I should certainly fucking hope so.